I know your music is often described just sort of in the pop genre, but how do you describe the music you make?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, it falls under kind of like dream wave or dream sequencing. It's very ambient and very cinematic in its feel. Like I really want people to draw into it like they would something like sacred. My songs are supposed to be kind of mantras of self love and also dedications to other things like the ocean. So I don't know. I guess dream pop or dream wave or some kind of blend between those that screams ambient. I think is a great way to put it.
Well, who were some of the musical artists that influenced you when you were growing up?
Yeah, actually, I was really blessed to have a lot of different music presented to me when I was a little girl. My dad was super into music, so he was a DJ, so he had a lot of music pushed onto me at an early age, which is great. It's really where I found my love for music. So, I really love. Portishead. So I really love like trip hop music. I also really listen to a lot of Depeche Mode, a lot of Sade. That was like a huge musical influence for me. So a lot of those kind of had like an ambient feel to them, and I was really drawn to trip hop, trippy like music like that, like Massive Attack and stuff like that. It just has such a eclectic, diverse feel to it that I didn't really hear on the radio a lot of the time when I was growing up. Like, the pop that you would hear would be kind of like the Britney Spears, which, nothing wrong with that. I love her.
Sure.
But there was definitely something a bit more unique to the music that I was being introduced to at home, like that one. And, I was really a huge fan of David Bowie, and he would always reinvent himself with every album. And he was such an artist, like in a 360 point of view. Like he really put in the time in his persona, in his designs. He was super like involved in every stage of that process, and I feel like I'm the same way. Like I feel like I've also touched on all points of my music, not just the actual production and the recording side and the writing side, but also like the persona and the branding that comes with it.
Well, certainly, as a mermaid, we would expect you to have a single titled The Ocean. But where did this idea come from?
Yeah, so I've always felt really drawn to the ocean, and every time I was near the ocean, I just felt like this really strong pull to it. And the more research I did, the more I realized, it really does have an impact on the human brain. Actually, like the human brain does need to see water. It provides a calmness to the human mind. So it totally makes sense to me that I would feel drawn to this. But there's just been this calling to the ocean ever since I was a little girl. Like ever since I would go to the beach and stuff like that, I would always feel such an affinity with the ocean. So I felt like it was time to kind of give back to the ocean as much as she gave me. So I really wanted to dedicate this song to the ocean as a love song. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people feel this affinity to the ocean. And I think it is such a universal feeling. And I really wanted to put that in a song because I don't think I've ever heard a song that kind of like dedicates itself to the ocean as much as as much as mine does.
It's a beautiful tribute. What kind of response have you been receiving from the fans?
Yeah, it's been a really positive response. A lot of people are loving it. It's really I'm really grateful for the mermaid community because a lot of mermaids, have been using the song on their videos and they really, really love the song. But also just ocean lovers and beach lovers in general just love the song too. So it just brings this whole community of ocean aesthetic
Water
people like
babies.
together. Yeah, exactly. Water babies. Yeah. And I think like for me, the big thing that I was struggling with when I was living in Toronto before,
I thought you were
and
saying when
now
I
I'm
was
actually,
living on land. And
yeah, when I was living on land. Yeah, exactly. But I was living in a very gray urban city with no access to the ocean. And I think it was really impacting me and my mental health. So I decided to kind of make a big decision and move. So now I live in a beach town by the ocean. So it's definitely like impacted my well-being and everything like that. And I feel like it's just brought my energy level so much more elevated than it was before. And I feel like I want the ocean to also be like an escape. A lot of my music is kind of like escapism, and it kind of dwells in that realm of daydreams and you know, meditative states. So I kind of want the ocean. Well, I know I want the ocean to act as a type of like, you know, song that you can listen to if you're not near the ocean that gives you the same feeling as if you were by the ocean.
it's beautiful. And I'm curious about your songwriting process. Do you have one way you tend to work every time, or does it vary? Like you can find lyrics first and then music arrives?
Yeah, that's a great question. For my songwriting process, it does usually take a little while. It's not something like I don't usually just like sit down and kind of like write everything at once. I usually kind of like take it in as it comes to me. So the ocean was actually something I worked on for a while before I put it into fruition and finalized it. And it really helps when I have the beat. So I don't actually make the beat, I work with a producer to make the beat. But the beat is made on my aesthetic and kind of my direction. So once I had the chorus and some of the lyrics written, I brought it over to the producer and the beat maker, and he built a song, designed a song basically based on that and based on my direction. And then I was able to finalize the song. I feel like I needed the tune and the beat to be able to really like finalize everything. And usually once I hear the beat, I also start like humming it and singing it. So
Mhm.
like it kind of just makes sense after that. So I definitely feel like it is like it's not super straightforward. It is something like a moving art piece that gets made throughout time. It's not really something I am able to just kind of just put out in one go.
It's a beautiful song. How hands-on are you when it comes to the production side of the music that you make?
Yeah, so like when I work with the producer, I do have like a pretty like strict direction on how I want to go. You know, I have like inspiration music that I put together. It's kind of like a mood board for music. Like that's how I like to think of it. So like I have like a feeling, you know, it's not just like I want this type of instrument in it and I want the beat to be like this or like, you know, like take inspiration from this. It's very much like about a feeling. So for this, I was very specific to him that I wanted something that sounded like going to the beach and having kind of like that ocean wave feeling to it and that pace to it. So, yeah, that was like a really involved process. Actually, we had a few meetings where we would discuss this and build on the song gradually until it became like what we both wanted. And then I was able to really layer on the lyrics on top of it and sing on top of it. And I really like working with him. His name's Bobby Morales, and he's really, really good at what he does. And that's what I work with him all the time.
With Ocean out now, is this a prelude to maybe an EP or a full album by chance?
Yes, so I am working on a full album. So Your Mermaid and The Ocean would both be on that album,
Okay.
which is my older song that I came out with. So I do want to make the whole album kind of like that island beachy feel to it. So,
Of
you know,
course.
I'm still still working on that. But you know, like I said, I really want to take my time with each song. I don't want it to kind of just be rushed. So everything has been mindfully created with time, and I think, yeah, with the right timing, I think an album will come out with all of those songs together.
Well, there's clearly a blue theme to you, so I would expect nothing less from an album cover or an EP, maybe a song entitled Blue. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great suggestion because I do live my life in blue, so it would be really nice to have. I'm wearing blue right now. I don't think
I'm gonna
you
say
can
you're a
hear
happy person, but you're very blue.
it. I'm very blue, yeah, exactly, but happy blue, not sad
Who are some artists you'd
blue.
love to collaborate with on a song in the future?
Yeah, I mean, like a huge inspiration of mine is definitely Sade. Like, I think she's
Wow.
incredible with her soothing voice. It sounds like trickling water, actually. That's how I like to think of her voice. Like, it's just like so beautiful. Um, I also really love Enya. I think she's so great. You know, she lives in a castle with her cats, and I think that is just fabulous. So I aspire to be Enya
That's a
for
mood
sure,
in
but
itself.
yeah. So maybe something like that by the beach, that would be great. Yeah, so those are two artists that I really look up to. I mean, Amy Winehouse was a huge influence to me as well, but unfortunately, you know, that is not possible, that type of collaboration. David Bowie was a huge inspiration to me too, but unfortunately, he is no longer here. So, you know, those are definitely two artists that I would love to collaborate with in the future. There's also some really great artists that are more like, you know, current and new. You know, I really, really love Leon Bridges. He does like
Oh,
blues.
yeah.
Love his stuff. I think that would be a really interesting collaboration as well. So yeah, those are definitely like the top people I would have on my list for sure to work with.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music you continue to make?
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm so grateful for the response because I think without a community, you don't really have, you know, your audience. So I'm really grateful for, you know, having this community of ocean lovers and mermaids and people who have this same affinity and connection that I do with the ocean and the beach and just that realm. So I'm just forever grateful for the people that continue to support my music, that continue to show up for me. I think it's always such a great feeling to know that your art is making waves.
No pun intended,
So
pun intended.
no pun intended, but it's such a nice feeling because you know that's why I create art. I really wanted to resonate with people and have a connection with people. This is the music that I wish was out into the world, and that wasn't. So that's why I wanted to create it for people that feel the same.